Maybe God knew you would need someone who would never leave. Think about that for a moment. Not a person, not a plan, a dog, a small, warm, breathing soul placed into your life at exactly the right time, or maybe what felt like the wrong time. And somehow, without a single word, they changed something in you that nothing else could reach. This isn't a coincidence, and it isn't just a pet. There are days when the phone doesn't ring, nobody checks in, the house sits quiet in a way that feels heavier than silence. It feels like absence. You go through the motions, you make coffee, you sit, and the world outside keeps moving like it doesn't notice you've stopped. But your dog notices. They're already at the door, already watching you, already wagging, not because something exciting happened, but because times happened, because you walked in, because you exist. And to them, that's enough. That has always been enough. There is something about that kind of love that breaks something open in a person, not in a painful way. In the way a window breaks open in a room that's been closed too long, suddenly there's air again. Suddenly, you remember you're still here. Psychologists have studied human loneliness for decades, and one of the things they've found consistently is this. We don't just need connection, we need safe times connection. The kind that doesn't judge, the kind that doesn't leave when we're difficult, the kind that doesn't require us to perform or explain or apologize for taking up space. Most human relationships, even the loving ones, carry conditions we don't always name out loud. We soften ourselves, we choose the right words, we wonder what the other person really thinks. It's exhausting in ways we barely notice anymore, because we've been doing it so long. Your dog doesn't ask for any of that. When you come home after a hard day, when you're quieter than usual, when you haven't showered, when you're carrying something you haven't told anyone about, your dog doesn't read it as failure, they read it as times you. And they choose you anyway, every single time. That is not a small thing. That is one of the rarest forms of love that exists. There's a reason your nervous system settles when your dog is nearby. Science has a name for it, oxytocin, the same bonding chemical released between mothers and newborns, but the name matters less than what you already know it feels like. That slow exhale, that loosening in your chest, that quiet that feels peaceful instead of empty, your body recognizes your dog as safe. Not just emotionally, biologically. Your heart rate slows, your cortisol, the stress hormone your body holds like a fist, begins to release. You stop bracing. This is what attachment psychologists call a time-secure base. A presence so steady and unconditional that the nervous system stops scanning for danger. And most of us, without ever realizing it, have been scanning for a very long time. Your dog became that base for you. Not because they were trained to, because they chose to. But here's the part nobody tells you. The dogs who find us rarely arrive when life is easy. They arrive during the hard seasons, the quiet unravelings, the years when you were trying to hold everything together and running out of hands. Maybe you got your dog during a divorce, or after a loss, or when the kids left and the house felt like it was breathing differently without them, or when retirement came and with it, unexpectedly, a silence you didn't know how to fill. It's almost uncanny if you let yourself notice it. Like something or someone knew you were going to need a reason to get up in the morning. A reason that didn't ask anything of you except to show up, to fill the bowl, to open the door, to take the walk even when you didn't feel like it. That routine, as simple as it sounds, is what psychologists call time's purposeful structure. And for many people, especially in the seasons of life when identity quietly shifts, when you're no longer the parent in the way you were, or the professional, or the partner, that structure becomes a lifeline dressed as a dog walk. Think about the older photographs sitting somewhere in your home, the ones from years ago when everything was louder and fuller. Life had a certain weight to it then, the good kind of weight, the kind that keeps you busy enough not to think too hard. Then things got quieter. And quieter. And the world, kind as it sometimes is, didn't always notice. But your dog was there for the quiet. There in the morning when you sat with your coffee and didn't want to talk. There in the evening when the news was too much and you just needed to feel something warm beside you. There on the hard anniversaries, the ones you carry privately. There on the ordinary days that would have felt unbearable without them. That consistency, that showing up every day without fail is not something we appreciate fully until we try to imagine its absence. And then it catches us in the throat. Because they weren't just filling space, they were filling the specific shape of your loneliness. Your dog never cared about the version of you the world admired. They never cared about the promotion, the reputation, the way you looked to others. They weren't impressed by your accomplishments or disappointed by your failures. They didn't love you more on your good days or pull away on your hard ones. They loved the tired version of you, the one who sits on the kitchen floor sometimes and doesn't know why, the one who cries quietly and tries to do it when no one's watching, the quiet version, the version that feels smaller than you used to feel, the version that wonders, sometimes, if it matters. Your dog looked at that version and wagged their tail, because to them, that was never a lesser version, that was just times you, and you were always worth staying for. Maybe God knew there would be nights you couldn't carry life alone, not because you were weak, but because carrying life alone was never what you were designed for. Humans are built for connection, for presence, for the warmth of another living thing beside them in the dark. And sometimes the world, in all its busyness and noise, fails to deliver that at the moment we need it most. So perhaps in the way that quiet answers sometimes arrive for unspoken prayers, something placed that specific animal in your specific life, not just as companionship, as protection, from the kind of loneliness that doesn't announce itself loudly, the kind that settles in slowly, room by room, until one day you realize the house has felt empty for a while. Your dog walked into that emptiness and sat down in the middle of it. And somehow, without doing anything miraculous, they made it livable again. There is a particular kind of healing that happens not in therapy rooms or conversations or epiphanies, but in the small, repeated moments of being loved without condition. The nose pressed to your hand, the weight settling against your legs, the eyes that find yours across a room and hold there, steady and soft. That is not insignificant. That is, for many people, what kept them going on the days going felt impossible. Your dog gave that to you. Not because they were doing a job, because they were doing what love does, instinctively, completely, without hesitation. Maybe your dog was never just a pet. Maybe they were a soul placed beside yours at a particular moment in your life, in the specific shape of something small and warm and unwavering, to remind you of something you had started to forget, that you were worth staying for, that the house with you in it is different from the house without you, that even on the quietest, hardest, most invisible days you were never truly alone. And maybe that was always the point,